What's up, everybody? If you can hear me, I want to see a 1111. Can you guys hear me? All right. You can hear me clearly. All right. What I'm doing is just giving a little time for people to catch on since this is an impromptu moment. I just sent out the notification to uh, viewers on Facebook. In the meantime, I'm just going to do a quick roll call. All right, Kamira. I always get these words all jacked up. Okay. All right. Revamp Skunk, what's up, fam? Kamiru Cruz. I hope I'm saying your name correctly. Welcome. Soul Cycle, welcome. Paradigm Collector, what's up, buddy? Poetic Mistaken. Randy, what's up? Good to see you here. Jay Now, welcome. Divine Warrior, what's up, fam? You say, oh my goodness, I got the sudden urge to come to YouTube, and AB is doing this, having this live. That is synchronicity, right? Where are you? I'm here. What's up, Farmer Soul World or Fama Soul? Miss Nell, welcome. Benji AdSense, yes, welcome. You caught a live. I hadn't done a live in months. This is my first live in months, I'm sure. So welcome. Let's see. Midnight Roses, welcome. Moon Eyes, welcome. All right, Jay, no, it's so good to hear this at a time when the world is going through so many levels of change. It's all at once. Thank you so much, love. Thank you. You're welcome. This is what I've been. Actually, this has been a major talking point of mine for years. You guys, most of you here have been with me for years, and I've been saying that a time will come when we are going to be tested beyond belief. And it's a process, and it has been going on for years. And yeah, it's going to get hotter before it starts to cool down. We're not out of the woods yet. Um, the most important thing, as my girl Miss Quiet Queen said, is that we survive it. And I want to talk about, especially a lot of you guys in this room, because I've done calibration readings on the majority of you. And even with those of you who I have not done calibration readings on, I have no doubt that your calibration levels are very high, especially if you're one who resonate with the kind of content that I share. And I know beyond a shadow of a doubt, every single one of you guys in this room is being challenged, especially more so. And it's even more challenging because you guys were also privy to the time that we're in now. You were made aware, and you were more woke than many who are just awakening. And going through this process is even more harsh. More with me, it's more harsh seeing people that I love and care about going through it, and they're not clear on what's going on, and they didn't get the proper information, and so they didn't properly prepare like many of us in here had. But at the same time, because we knew what was coming down the pike, and because of our calibration level, the dark side is working overtime to attack those of us who have high calibration levels, those of us who are righteous, those of us who do what is right when no one is looking. That's what I mean. Those of us who have done nothing but try to give the very best we have to offer to those in need, and even when those who are not even asking or looking for it from us, we will do our best to step up and help. And the reason why the righteous ones and those many of us in this room are being attacked is because of our bright light, our calibration level. It cannot be seen with the naked eye. And I'm telling you, they have technology on this internet. I have absolutely no doubt about it. Just like I said years ago about them having technology to read the frequency and the energy and the mood of music. And you guys saw that I had found that out inadvertently when I had uploaded my music last year to an a music platform. And what they allowed the musician to see is nothing compared to what they actually had. And some of you guys remember I shared that link with you, and they, just like they have technology and algorithm that can read the frequency and mood and temperament of music, they also have technology that can read our biorhythm, our consciousness, our calibration level of who we are, the content we put out. If we have platforms, they also have technology that can read our biorhythm by way of these phones. And this is really, really deep. And again, I know that I'm on someone else's platform. I have to choose my words wisely. See, I play by the rules. Clearly, they don't. But I'm going to stay true to me because I do not believe in lying, cheating, misleading, none of that. That's not who I am. However, I am going to continue to share my revelations and what I pick up on while I'm being mindful of the rules set in place here. So, because all of you guys who have been watching me and being with me for years, you are all under extra attack. Now, here's the bittersweet part about it. The sweet part about it is that they know that they cannot do but so much to us directly. And there are many factors that come into play about that. But what they do is they go after someone who is closest to us. I'm going through this right now with a family member. It is so over the top, and I clearly see it for what it is. And unfortunately, as much as I love this family member, I have to emotionally detach myself from the situation. It is the only way I can keep my calibration levels high. And you all, if it could be a parent, it could be a sibling, it could be a niece, it could be a best friend. It doesn't matter. If there is someone in your life that you have a close connection with or desire to have a close connection with, and they have not raised their calibration level, or they are under the influence or impression of someone who is operating under extreme low calibration levels, okay? And they are feeling vulnerable, or they are in a vulnerable position and their calibration level is not as high as it could be. They're going to work through these people to get to you. And yes, they will continue to try and attack us directly through our finances, through means of getting our message out there, or by way of whatever means or vehicle we use to connect and stand in our light. They're going to continue to attack that, but they already are figuring out that that fight is mute. So again, they are going after those that we love and care about and using them to basically get to us and indirectly get us to dim our light. They, on the internet, they suppress our light by way of these algorithms. Even when we go into these forums and leave comments, many of you have written me and have, and some of you guys I talk to, you, when you leave a message that's filled with truth and life and light, they ghost banning, they're blocking it, they shadow banning. A lot of that is going on because your light, no matter where you put it, no matter where you focus it, is a threat. And this is all a part of illuminating this sick, out of control, out of balance world. And so, again, the process is very painful, it's very difficult. It was not designed to be easy. And the reason so many of you guys are here is because you were the right warrior, the right soul, the right spirit to come in and knowing what was to come, to knowingly come in when you didn't have to face all of this, to hold your light and project your consciousness in this collective, to do exactly what we see happening now, to finally clean up this degenerate, just ungodly, out of balance reality. And so, yes, the war is very real. I told you guys the war is on a multi-dimensional level. I'm going to tell you, I'm going to share this experience with you, and I can't say but so much because you never let the enemy know what the right hand is doing. But those in the know they have tried to attack those of us, some of us on the astral realm, those some of us who have access to higher levels. They This high level being was sent to me. This was clearly a high level warlock. This being literally, it was myself and some other astral projectors doing clean work, doing rescue work on the astral plane. And this being chanted something in a language that I was not familiar with before he came up on us. The first thing he did was grab one of the persons who was with me and levitated. We were in a cave like area on the astral realm. He grabbed this being and levitated with this being locked in arm, and stated a chant, and this being turned to a pile of coal, and he opened his arm, and this being fell down to the ground and broke to pieces. He then came down, pushed. There were two beings standing in front of me as I'm watching this. He knocked them down and jumped on top of me, and what he did was grab and try to lift me up and do the same thing he had done to the being before. But because I was so powerful, I could literally feel his 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 entire, what he was trying to do was trying to suck energy out of my life body, out of my astral body. And because my barrier was so strong, and my light and my power was so strong, there was this clashing. He couldn't penetrate me. He couldn't grab me. He couldn't lift me off the ground. Now, at this point, I'm becoming extremely angry. I'm not going to say what I said, but see, things like that don't frighten me. It doesn't. It actually amps me up. Let's just say that being was dealt with, okay? And I woke up. I came back here full of energy. Those who know, you know what, read between the lines. And I'm not gloating. I'm not doing any of that. I'm just sharing this experience with you guys because none of us are immune to these attacks. But because of who we are and where we come from and what we are cut out to do, they can't do but so much. They have sent some of the best towards us and have not been able to do anything. So this is making them very, very terrified and very angry. And so they still have a little bit of leverage on the ground, right? Because although there are a lot of people waking up, it's still not quite at a point where like on the astral spiritual planes. Because remember, this war is happening on a multi-dimensional level. All right. So I'm sharing this with you guys to make you aware that you are not alone. Whatever you are going through, we are going through this and feeling these changes. Some of us more so than the average person. And I'm sure the average person, even in their ignorance, is feeling it, but we're feeling it more so. But because of who we are, we can stand it. We can handle it. All right. So, and I need to say this also and make those on the ground level, because I kind of hinted that I'm kind of going through some things on the ground level with a loved one, and I was tried majorly a few days ago on the ground level, and I'm going to let you guys, and this is a fair warning, you do not want to be running up on anybody in this day and age, because you don't know who is really connected to who or what. And I am telling you, I've said it a long time ago. I can defend myself, believe me, but before I do anything physically and fall into the trap, because that's another thing they want us to do, to lose control and do something physically where they're justified in trying to come and physically take us in. I'd rather deal with those through the system or on the spiritual realm. But there are those of us who may be a little more, let's say, what's the word I'm looking for? I'm more on the lenient side. It takes a lot to really push me there. Unless you jump on me, I have every right to defend myself with everything I have. But I'm one of those people, I will avoid physical confrontation. That is a very last resort. However, if need be, I will do what I have to do. And even more so, some of us have beings around us that cannot be seen with the naked eye, who are all around us, who do not take too kindly of those running up on us, threatening us, or planning or plotting against us on the ground level. They're not as forgiving as, say, some of us are. So this is a warning, and I am 100% serious about what I say. So your ignorance of not knowing what I'm saying is not going to matter if you try something with any of those that I just described, including myself. So that's a fair warning. So let me go in here and let me see what y'all talking about. I just wanted to kind of come in and do an impromptu um, chat. I know that many of you guys are absolutely going through what I just talked about. Some of you guys, I just want to get a feeling where you are, what you want to chat about, and be mindful. Again, there's certain things we cannot talk about because they're always looking for any reason to shadow ban or outright delete. Now they're at a point where they're just outright deleting videos if you say something that quote unquote go against their rules. Now, mind you, their chosen ones can just break all the rules, do whatever they want. These rules they put in place is really for us. It's not for their chosen ones and their Decepticons and agents. All right. Okay, there are 38 people in the room and 22 likes. Come on, y'all. If you hadn't hit that like button, hit the like button. Um, have people of the black race ever developed an advanced and intelligent civilization without mostly using help indirectly or not from people of other races? This is clearly someone. First of all, to answer your question, and see again, this is one of those things I have to watch what I say. Let me just say this: what you call the so-called black race, which I don't use black because we're not black. We are far more complex and complicated than you, more so than what you have been brainwashed to think or believe. If you look at all the ancient civilizations, a lot of that has been whitewashed. Yes, I can say that much. Our history goes beyond this earth. You're not talking to some ignorant, unconscious, melanated Nubian person of color who have no idea about what has happened on this planet and the real history, not the whitewash, not what the conquerors had brainwashed you to think or believe a thousand folds over. This is why I can confidently get on this camera and speak what I speak. Now, I cannot even answer that question without it coming across as just as racist as what some people like you do. These people are very interesting because they will formulate a question, or they'll come in a place of form and ask a question that's really rooted in racism. But when we respond accurately or equally, somehow then we become the problem for defending our position. And so again, what you're asking is rooted in ignorance. We are people who have fallen from our original place, just like many others here. We are a collective people who are in amnesia. That so-called junk DNA that we have been lied to about, we were a people who were 100% one with that energy. And when we were 100% one with that energy, we were operating and running technology and doing psychic, mental gymnastics that would be on the level of gods. And that's not me gloating. That is the truth. So you have no idea. We are an ancient, very ancient people who have simply fallen and lost our way. And this is what a lot of this brainwashing and manipulation, the targeting, the oppression, the drugs, the alcohol, the satanic, demonic music targeting our people, the sex, the degeneracy, the debauchery, all of that has been designed to keep the gods from awakening from who and what they truly are. So you gotta ask yourself, if our intelligence is so lowly and we're such horrible people, why do you think there are those who put so much time, money, and effort into keeping the so-called intellectually inferior people detached and unconscious? Because they know something you clearly do not. All right, ABB, I have very wild dreams almost every night, but it seems I don't have many conscious astral projection experience like feeling the separation. Celestial Queen. Well, the good news is that you are having vivid dreams. And um, the vivid dreams and the conscious full astral projection experience, they can go hand in hand. Maybe you are having these vivid dreams so that you can get more in tune with that part of yourself that has been detached, because again they're putting all kinds of stuff in the food and the water to keep these astral connections, to block them off. It works on most people, but it still does not work on everyone. So hold on to the fact that you are having these very very lucid, not lucid, these very vivid dreams, and that you can remember them, because even still a lot of people still can't even remember their dreams. So what you have to do is, going back to what I started this live off with, there's if there's your work, people around you, things around you and in your circle that is weighing on your heart. Things like that get in the way of that. It's hard to have a solid foundation and keep that connection when you are being weighed down with a whole lot of fluff and unnecessary stuff. Okay, that rhyme. Here I'm sitting here rhyming and not trying to rhyme. um, let's see. ABB. On that note, when will the truth about melanated people come out? The truth is not going to come from the very group of people. Now here's the double-edged sword about a lot of this. A lot of people think it's the quote unquote white man that's behind a lot of this stuff. Now this is a hard pill to swallow for a lot of melanated people, and I've shared this with people, some people, and they find it's very hard to believe. Here's the irony: it's not really the white man. Really, they have a role. Some of them are involved, but they are answering to a higher order. And in that higher order, there now this is going to really hit a lot of people hard. They're disagreeable black people, or what you call black people, but they are Nubian people. Nubian people who are disagreeable, because when we were gods, we didn't all get along. We didn't all see eye to eye. So you have a disagreeable group who is really running the show, who look like people like me, who's really running the show, along with some others. Now I know that's a hard pill to swallow. This is why I don't get in that ignorant racism. I don't get into that sexual orientation bullshit. All of that stuff was created as as a political football to keep people in their emotions and to keep people divided and in their feelings. And what I said a long time ago, when you are constantly moving and making decisions and deep seated emotion, anger, fear, those kind of emotions, there's no way you can truly come into true who you truly are and what you are. It's all a part of keeping people down and downtrodden and unconscious. So I have clear memory of interacting with the gods, the agreeable ones and the disagreeable ones. Okay? So I can't say but so much on that. I wish I could say so much more, but again, in spiritual warfare, it's happening on a multi-dimensional level. Um, we have to be very mindful of what we share. However, I will say that follow up to the question, the those of us who need to know will be made known. It will be made known to those who need to know by those outside of this system. This with those who are currently in power at the head, because it's not going to come by way of them at first. It has to gradually and incrementally happen. So they are the star family. They are coming to us in our dream states. They are coming to us on the astral plane. To those who have raised their consciousness and calibration levels high enough to get this. And what'll happen is when they pass it on to them and they wake up to it, more of them will go out and pass it on to others. And those who are receptive, they will raise their calibration level, their expand their consciousness, and then that's how it will trickle on. And then at the right moment, when enough of us is privy to this and truly aware of this, that's when it will be widely known. And here's where a lot of people who bought into the white lies, the whitewashing, the propaganda, the lies, many of them are really going to be jumping off buildings because the reality of what is really happening, what has really happened on this planet, and who some people truly are versus what you have been taught, it's going to be earth shattering. It's going only for mostly for those who still believe the lie, the people who are still drinking the Kool-Aid. Those of us who are open minded, who have put in the work, who have had interactions and connections with the Star family, regardless of your shade, those are the ones who will be able to handle what is coming. Like I say, a lot of stuff is going to come out, but it can't come out because we don't want to shift or disrupt the progress that has been made. Putting too much on the collective consciousness of people could undo hundreds of years of work. This has been hundreds of years in the making. This very point right here. So we have to be very, very careful. Again, this is multi-dimensional chess we're seeing playing out here. It's not simple. It's not easy. It's not black and white. Never was. ABB, have you seen that Beyonce have you seen that Beyonce has dropped a new single, The Public Sheep Hate It, but I can feel that she's releasing shackles and changing her tune, literally. Um, no, I have not seen, I'm not aware of that. But the Star family, they are going to their what they're doing is a lot of those contracts these celebrities are under. They there's a lot going on with breaking that, and they are helping to free, especially the women especially, because that the women they're connected to the great mother, the presence of the rise of the divine feminine, and someone like a Beyonce, absolutely. Even though I'm not privy to this, or I'm not aware of this, it makes absolute sense because imagine the number of divine feminine vessels, the vessels for the great mother, the number of women that Beyonce, a woke, really woke Beyonce, would have on a collective of women. So absolutely, she a lot of these celebrities, ironically, many celebrities are targeted because they are very highly conscious and gifted and connected. So the so quote what I call the those operating on the dark side, They have technology and means of knowing who is who before we even know who we are down here, before we come into who we are. So what they do is they come in and they try to recruit us at a certain point before we wake up so that they get us under contract. So a lot of these celebrities were falsely tricked into contracts and agreements that went against certain rules and laws. And so a lot of their contracts are being renegotiated. Here's also why you see a lot of artists getting their masters back. This is very, very deep. This is, again, a multi-dimensional war that is going on. So Beyonce, being who she is and the influence she has, and being a melanated woman, absolutely, the Star family, absolutely, I see them working through her, no doubt, and several others who have a lot of power and influence, and severing those ties with these satanic forces. I'm only using satanic for lack of a better word right now. I feel like she is human, just like the rest of us. Maybe she has been possessed before. Yeah, because, and this I know this for a fact. When you sign up or make a contract with these people, they have walk-ins and they have entities that will come in and amp up whatever they have going. So if you are a good singer, these attachments and these entities will make you a great singer. If you are a decent dancer, it will amp that up and make you great at that. If you're a good speaker, whatever talent you have, whatever ability, these entities come in and amp them up, and it becomes a part of the contract. But for most of these artists, they're not made aware of that. Now, when they try to recruit me, they didn't have to tell me because I already knew. But they one group who tried to recruit me, they made me aware of that. But there was no amount of money, wealth, fame, or clout that would get me to go along with it because I'm not impressed with none of those things. I'm probably one of the few people on the planet who is truly not impressed with riches, with big houses. I'm not impressed with somebody who's a celebrity. I don't care who they are. I'm not going to treat them any better or less than I would an average person, a homeless person. I don't care. I really don't care about those things. I never had. I just wanted to get enough to live and take care of my mom, my family, look out for people, and have enough to give to charity and help people. I never cared about any of that stuff. And people used to always ask me, and people in my family have said it, with all that talent, he should have done way more with that. If I had his talent, but y'all don't understand. I'm not willing to do the things that is required to be seen on a level that most people are used to seeing in terms of someone making it or really going far with it. I'm not interested in that. I don't care to do that. Now, if I had that kind of heart, yeah, I would have been famous. If I was willing to sell my people out, sell myself out, get on my stomach, get on my knees for cash, money, and power. I'm not interested in none of that. Never had been. ABB, how you see the split happening between those who are going to 5D and those who are not? Can those souls who sold out be allowed to shift? It's a case by case basis. Again, yes, for some. For others, it depends on um, their karma. It depends on their intention. Depends on what's their heart. The heart plays a big part of this, and how and what their true intentions, and they have been watching, they're still being watched. Now, in terms of the split, this is going to happen multiple ways. First of all, some people will appear to die off from, and I'm not saying this is true for everybody who passes from this reality. I'm just saying how I see it happening. For some people, they will appear to pass away in this version of Earth, but they only passed away in this version of Earth, but they'll wake up and merge with a parallel version of themselves in another Earth with a trajectory and timeline is further away from the 5D because they still have more work to do. Some are will be taken off Earth. Some will pass on and go into the astral or spirit realm and just incarnate at another time somewhere else, and then there are those who are literally being taken off world to another plane altogether. So it's happening in a myriad of ways. I don't see everybody making the jump. Some of us have the perception that everyone will make it. I never saw that. I never agreed to that. It is those who have who have good energy, who have a higher calibration level, not only overall in their biorhythm and what have you. It's the heart. The heart is the biggest factor here. The intention, and those who don't have a lot of negative, heavy karma. So the split is happening as we speak. So we're going to see a lot of sudden deaths, what appears to be death, but it's just people abandoning or leaving their avatar and on this version of reality and shifting to a reality that better supports the level of consciousness and vibration that they're on, so that those who are ready for the shift from this perspective to lighten the load for those who are ready and to make it a lot more palatable. So, for lack of a better word, for those who are not quite ready. ABB, will MJ's name ever be clear in the public? Yes, that is happening as we speak as well. Um, MJ was absolutely an angelic. Actually, we're from the same soul group. Someone actually wrote and asked if because of my eyes, someone said something about, and this is not the first time I've heard this. It's something in the eyes that those who are in tune to see. They notice that certain beings who are highly creative and highly sensitive, in tune with their feminine side, who are very empathetic and compassionate, there's a light and there's a presence in the eye that we all have that, except, and I'm particularly talking about those of us who are in biological male avatars. And I must say biological male avatars because we are not really the body. Those of us who are in biological male avatars, and you can even see it in animals. I'm seeing it even more than ever in animals like dogs. You see dogs' eyes are becoming more like angelic, human-like. That's because the very important job dogs, the spirit behind or that's in those dogs, the important work they have been doing. They don't call them man's best friend for nothing. And for the person who asked that question earlier about black people, so-called black people, I'm only using black for because that's what most people understand or recognize. But before we failed, we were very in tune with those with dogs. So much so that hybrids were created, human, like half human, half dog. I've seen them. Those beings were created by people who look like me, but very dark. Now those beings, they were closer to the literal color black, but they did not identify or call themselves black. And they very, very, very powerful beings. So the when people talk about Anubis is not the only being in creation who is highly intelligent and look like a cross between a dog and a human. They are a species of these beings, and I'm telling you what I saw and what I remember. And they are highly evolved beings, highly intelligent. That's why I say there are a lot of things that I could share would really sound super out there, super sci-fi. But where do you think you got? Where do you think they're getting this stuff from? This planet, everything is in the reverse. They put a bunch of lies and BS in the history books and tell you that's the facts, but they hide the history in plain sight in movies and pass them off as fiction and make believe. And let me tell you why they do that. First of all, they have to tell the truth, give out the history of what has happening, what they're doing, or what have you, but there was never a mandate in how it was supposed to be done. So this is a loophole that they found, a way of putting the truth out, but at the same time doing it in a way where the people won't take it as real or truthworthy, because if they knew this was real or truthworthy, that increases the odds of waking them up out of their amnesia. Have you guys seen, or maybe you guys have even known someone who has fallen in a state of amnesia? And the best way to make them remember is to what? Keep them connected with things that are very, very familiar. Keep them in a familiar setting, a familiar environment, and it helps them to remember who they are. Now imagine that on a multi-dimensional global scale. That's what we're dealing with right now. They are doing they put us in an unnatural state and feed us a bunch of lies that's far from the truth, and keep reinforcing it, and use celebrities and people of influence to keep reinforcing things that will keep that amnesic barrier going, as they put the truth in plain sight and say it's fiction and it's make believe, so that you don't consider that to be a factor or part of your true history, or part of who you really are. And for many people who have woken, right, the first thing they'll say is, "Man, when I used to see those movies, some of part of me felt like this was real, but I didn't want to believe it, or I couldn't accept it because I didn't want nobody to think I was crazy." That's the trick. That's the whole point. That's why they do it the way they do it. By the way, I didn't tell you guys, I didn't want to actually make an appearance because I hadn't done a video like this in a long time, where you're just focusing on the message and just hearing the voice. um, because sometimes people are just passing through, and I don't want people to focus on what I'm going, what I got on, what I look like, looking at my bed, looking at what all that stupid stuff. I want people to focus on the message, what is being, the conversation. I want to give a special shout out to three people who with well, two people that I have seen in this room. There are two people in this room, but there's one other. I'm not sure. I don't see them here. Miss Kitty Lulu. Special shout out to Miss Kitty Lulu. I really appreciate you and your loyal support. This is someone who has gone beyond the call of duty, and I understand exactly why she does what she does. Um, Divine Warriors. I almost said your actual name again. Beyond the call of duty, I've been interacting with this powerful divine vessel for years, and I cannot say, there are not enough words to say how much I truly appreciate all that she is. We actually have past, we've done this before. We've had past times together. I appreciate you absolutely, and I'm going to keep telling you that, and your brethren, okay? And Ramon, special shout out, gratitude to Ramon, Randy, and Randy is in here. That's the only reason why I'm saying his name, and a couple of other guys. I just want to say again, you know who you are. You have gone beyond the call of duty, and I see your light, and I know it is not easy, but hey, like I said, we're just the right beings to do it, and we're doing it. Look at how strong we're still standing and defying all the odds in the process, okay? That's a testament of what we're cut from. They can't stop what's happening. The natural order of our reality is in harmony with nature's being. We are those beings. Also, nature is set in our being, thanks to our creator, Allah, and Mother Key. Absolutely, I 100%. They, like I said before, I don't care what it looks like. They have already lost. We're just going through the bumps and the bruises, and understanding and appreciating how we got to victory. Yes, some more ugliness has to play out. We're not done. It's going to look like they have won, but I'm telling you, right when it looks like they got it, it's going to all come crashing down like a house of cards. I'm telling you, the trajectory we're on, that's exactly how it's going to play out. It's going to look like they got it in the bag, but right at that moment. And they actually show you this in the movies. How does it typically end? Right when they think they got it, they all get it. Because they are not more powerful than source. They are not more powerful than light. Okay? And they're learning that the hard way right about now. But again, like a wild, savage dog that's being cornered, they're coming out lashing and coming out with everything they had. All right. Talk about what's going on between men and women. Again, the reason why that is so because they have created these platforms with these influencers who are agents who have experienced a lot of trauma with the opposite sex, the opposite gender, or whatever you want to call it. And what they've done is they weaponize that trauma that many of these people feel and have gone through and given them clout, giving them uh, access to the masses, giving them money. Would you have you guys not seen how well paid these people are? Have you guys not seen? You don't see them suppressing their likes and their view counter and ghost blocking their comments unless it's a comment from someone from the light trying to bring some wisdom to the fold. But you don't see them doing that with them. That's because their job is to, as an influencer, is to tap into the emotions of others who have experienced, who have had bad relationships with their mothers, their fathers, their lovers, or whatever the case may be, and to lure them into their lower nature, into their emotions, and keep them there, and and make this something that is seemingly a good thing. But you see, what is it improving? How is it bringing anybody together? And what that is doing, because people are looking at this and seeing it's highly profitable and people are getting famous from it, it's triggering others to go and create more platforms like this, and they're just pushing them all to the forefront. To again, they have been weaponized to create gender wars. Again, this is a part of the war. So they got the war between the straight in the GLBT community, so war between quote unquote black and white, war between male and female, war between Republican and Democrat. I could go on and on and on. This is why I do not get caught up in these political. I was going to do a video on this. Why I do not identify or associate my I am presence to political ideologies and political names and titles. Because when we do that, we play into the game, we play into the script. When you start getting to the point of becoming neutral to that stuff and stop sharing, liking, and supporting it, and spend that time working on yourself or sharing, liking, supporting people who are bringing understanding in the world, bringing light and life into the world, people who are trying to build bridges, people who are trying to break generational curses, which I'm trying to do, but just with, and I'm going to do a video about this as well, because again, the dark side don't want generational curses broken because that keeps the system that's in place going. So you have within your own family enemies because they were planted there to keep the generational curses. I'm dealing with that at this very moment. Someone who wants to keep it just the way it is, planting nonsense, debauchery, degeneracy in the minds of the younger ones in the family, and lies and deception, and have no care about what that is doing, because they don't realize they end up paying for that too, because they're not conscious enough to understand that when we do things like that, is when we do negative things and create a whole lot of negative karma, it's not just on us, we're passing that down through the bloodline. So this spiritual warfare, again, this is what all of these gender wars, this sexual identity BS, all of this is to get people in their emotions and rile up rage and anger and fear and distrust. So again, We don't like it. And this is one of the things that many of us, and I talk to other people who do this kind of work, it's extremely frustrating for us because we don't get that support. Though even people who know what's going on, they don't even share the content like as much as they could. They don't for share our content as much as they should. That's one thing. The dark side, the most challenging part of dealing with what's going on down here is the dark side always had their loyal supporters in place, relentlessly sharing and pushing and planting what it is that they want. We us on the other hand, it's a totally different story. I write positive music. People talk about positive music with a message, positivity, and all that. And we do that. The support is there. I'm not complaining, but it could be, I know it could be way more than what it is. When we put out this music, music is sound and vibration. Music is one of the most powerful weapons they have corrupted and is using against the people as well in spiritual warfare. So what we need is more artists and musicians creating music with high frequencies, high vibration, with a positive, powerful message with built-in positive affirmations in it, so that the people can hear it, learn it, and sing along with it, and empower themselves. That was the whole idea behind this project that I started last year, and you guys wouldn't even believe what I've been going through with the blockage with that, because they know that that light that I speak of and that I am, and you guys have seen in the live, that light is in my music. They don't want that getting to the masses. They wouldn't even be happy with that getting into the hands of 500 people, because 500 out of 500 people, it very well could be someone with a massive platform. You just never know. This is why I'm always saying you guys play a very important role. Not only are you holding the light, but you guys should be constantly sharing and supporting those of us. And this is bigger than me. You should be supporting and sharing the content of those of us um, who you know for a fact you see we are being marginalized and ghost banned and blocked and messed with, because the internet is a mind within itself. This is why no matter, even when you see I'm not making videos, I still have to put something out there, because that is balancing. Even on the internet, it's going to become a self-aware. It already actually is, as quiet as it's kept, but it's going to continue to grow in consciousness. So it's driving and feeding off of the collective consciousness of those of us who come online, right? So if more of us get behind those of us who are trying to build bridges and bring light and happiness and peace into the world, if more of us do that, we can override their algorithms. And it will get to the point where they won't be able to block it. It's going to happen anyway, but it could happen a lot more sooner if more of us really understood what I'm saying. You best believe the dark side know. That's why they set it up to be. They set up many of these platforms to be the way it is. So you have a lot of people who have a perception of reality solely based off of what the opposition want them to see, and because they're not seeing anything else to make them think outside of that, they won't know any better. It is getting ridiculously easy to spot the shenanigans and the planned operations and the end motive behind them. We are getting ridiculously powerful by the day. That is absolutely true. Y'all see it. Y'all see it. But it's going to increase, but it can happen a lot faster. More of us just gotta be all hands on and be mindful of everything that I'm saying at all times. All right, it's saying 50 people in the room. Again, I've been on here almost an hour. I'm supposedly, by these numbers, I have almost 13,000 subscribers, and you guys know it is really impossible for every single live. It's on average 50 to 60 people in the room, supposedly. Y'all know that should be telling in itself. But let someone get on here to gossip about something of no merit, nothing. They'll have hundreds of people in the room in 5 minutes. Yeah. So again, If this is not evidence that I must clearly be something real, I don't know what is. Okay? They only do that to certain people. They don't do that to everybody who's supposedly sharing information and waking people up. And you got to question anybody who is who is not dealing with this kind of stuff, but they're out there supposedly waking people up. There's a word for that. They call that those people controlled opposition. Even if they look like they're revealing the truth, they're going to always allow them to say certain things to make it look like they're really there to wake people up. But that's the bait. Anybody can just say something or put something out there, but it's the intention and the power and the consciousness and the light behind that being that really changes the people, speak to the soul. And those who are on here who are highly illuminated, have high calibration levels, speaking from the heart and soul, they're the ones who are being ghost banned and blocked the most. I love both all our brothers and sisters equally, and even I know I also said love trans, gay, straight equally too. What's up, Shondell? That's just who you are. And one of the things I've always said is that no matter what we go through, and no matter how many times someone lie on us, deceive us, do us wrong, it never changed the core of who we are. We are still going to be loving, caring beings. It just does not change. Um, Wait a minute. Did the live stop? Can you guys still hear me? Okay. All right. My screen was frozen for a minute. When I first did my website, controlled opposition, absolutely. Um, Defending my brother KS. Tall Starlight, defending my brother KS. Who is KS? Amar, welcome, Amar. Amar is another one who's been here almost from day one. Saw all the ups and downs, the ebbs and flows, what have you. Welcome. Feeling lighter, yes, and feeling it with regards to people and places, things. Paradigm Collector, what's up, fam? We can hear you. Good. We can hear you. Oh, Kevin Samuels. You're defending Kevin Samuels? Okay. That's your right. Okay, let me see. Somebody blocked somebody's comment. Let me see here. You're not on the right channel. Hold on. You're not you're not on the right channel if you have that mentality. ABB is not on that woman hating crap. I'm not. That Simp come with something new instead of parroting your master, Captain Simons. Yeah, I'm all about building bridges and bringing in understanding. I don't get into all that. Y'all, in 13 years, I'm a real OG in this thing. In 13 years, I have never gotten online and tore down and talked bad about no particular person ever, ever. And I'm not going to support that. So let's keep the conversation. I remember watching you in 2009. Now, when I was 12, now I'm 30. I'm getting old. No, stop saying you're getting old. That's a program. That's a program. Let me tell y'all something about age. I done a video about ageism. Again, we have to reprogram. Everything we have been taught really is either just straight out lies or disinformation. Now, Gaia Earth had done a video about this, but I had done a video about ageism years ago. And he had done a really good video giving a different perspective. But when it's all said and done, I'm going to tell you again, when you say I am, whenever you put I am in front of something, you are speaking that into your genes, speaking that into your soul, speaking that into your body. Everybody I know who grew up with me, they all always saying, "Wow, you don't age. What's your secret? What's this?" Some people even had a nerve to call me a witch. I must be some kind of voodoo doctor or something because I'm not aging like everybody else in my general age group. And it's not only that I'm not aging like them, I don't have no health problems, knock on wood, not popping no pills for nothing. I can get on the dance floor and dance hours straight without being tired. I don't have no aches or pains, none of that. And I'm going to tell you the real secret. The real secret is I never bought into that age birthday programming mess. And I do my best to laugh and I stay in tune with my inner child. I don't go out my way to hurt nobody, stabbing nobody in the back. And I'm not, and I live my truth. Who you see is what you get. I don't never get on the camera and try to act like some other than what I am. And I've always been that way. But getting back to birthdays, if you were born on a Wednesday, right? We know they set up a calendar where Wednesday comes around every your actual birthday. If you were born, let's say I was born on a Monday, so my birthday, I don't acknowledge a birthday, and I'll still call it an anniversary. I don't call it a birthday. I'll call it a birth date, the alleged date, but I don't acknowledge that until every 7 years. 7 is symbolic of completion. So my birthday falls on a Monday. I don't acknowledge that, and even then, I don't get out candles. I don't do no rituals. I've never had a birthday party. Never. I never had a cake where I blew out candles because that's a ritual. That's reinforcing the program. And if I live to be 70, 75, 80, I promise you, and you hear, if y'all be living to see it, people gonna be shocked that, and it ain't gonna be because I went and got a whole lot of surgery either. It's gonna be all me. People are going to be shocked, okay? Because I don't play and I don't run that program. So we need to stop saying I'm getting old. I almost said it trying to just repeat. We need to stop saying things like that. And we need to stop playing into the game of ageism. And this is how they cheated many of us out of our immortality. Because yes, we do live on. Those of us who have a soul, those of us who a spirit can live for a minute, but a spirit ultimately needs another host to survive. A soul is eternal, being those of us who have a soul. So yes, we do live on, but we have within our capabilities, if we have the right knowledge and operating with our fully developed DNA activation, immortality, meaning we can live as long as we want down here in the physical body and it not age. Aging is basically the degeneracy of cells, and what causes the degeneracy or the breakdown of cellular of our cellular structure. It is how we think, what we are programming, the programming we run is what we put into our bodies, and how we treat our bodies. So of course, if we have the right programming and in our right mind and doing the right things, we can keep the cells from degenerating as fast. And that's really what immortality is. You basically, and a time will come. A time will come, that'll be a long time from now, but a time will come where people will live as have whatever experience they want here, and when they're ready to go, they'll be able to just leave their body at will without having to go through some kind of terrible disease or some kind of horrible trauma or what have you. A time will come when that will happen. What's up, Guy? I just mentioned you. How long you been here? Because I've been running my mouth. I'm not really paying attention to who's coming into the room. Gaia, you seen the video of Queen Elizabeth lighting up the third strand? Yeah, that's a ritual. See, they again. Um, this is a perfect example of how they have these rituals and they do these things right in plain sight. So that is symbolic. That is symbolic. What they would rather do is have an artificial ritual of a full strand activation, rather than see a real one happen, especially with those who with those of us who they don't want to see that happening with. And that whole ritual will go over most people's heads. Can I ask you, ABB? I have a hard time to accept how terrible it is for many people in different parts of the world, like wars, famine, and stuff like that. Um, we all do, because you have compassion, you have empathy. There's really nothing we can do about feeling what we feel. Um, the only thing the only advice I can give is that there's always something. What helps me when I see stuff like that and it tugs at my heart, I would try to find a way to do something that could help the situation. Now, these donation campaigns, we know many of them are not getting many of these people are not getting these things in terms of money, but there are Africans in this country who are doing missionary work, donate clothes, donate goods, food. Don't I would really second think donating money to especially a campaign that's what's the word I'm looking for, that's heavily promoted in the mainstream, because most of that money is not going to those to help those people. It's just not. They want the money, but foods, clothing, um hey, even if you just write a letter, go online. They have where you can write someone, just send a picture of yourself smiling and find someone that I forgot what it's called, where you can create a pen pal kind of connection with someone in these third world countries. There are missionaries who set up things like this where you can write a letter, just writing a letter to someone who is over there, a child, with a picture of yourself, letting them know you aware who they are. Start like a kind of a pen pal type thing. So at least it makes you feel like you're doing something to help make a difference in one of their lives, and even possibly do something that could really change their life and rise them up to be a beacon where they can help further change this situation. Now, a lot of that famine and all that stuff is beyond their control, because we're talking about very a very well organized corrupt group who is behind this stuff. And so in this warfare that's going on, a lot of those people who are causing this are being dealt with as well, and they're falling off, being taken off, and being dealt with. But yeah, still in the process, there's nothing wrong with you, from whatever place you want, however you want to do it. Do something to make it, to help yourself feel like you're at least doing something to help. And those are just little ideas that I threw out there for you. It helps. It helps. And of course, it always helps to help someone who's in your neighborhood who's at a disadvantage as well. But yeah, wherever your heart leads you to want to help, give something of yourself, do it. That's one thing I have always done, even when I've been broker than broke. If I had $5 and someone really needed something, I would give two of those $5. Whenever I get a donation, that's just who I am. I'll give a certain percentage of it to someone else who's doing this work, who I know is not getting the support that I know they deserve. Or I donate it to a mother who's struggling with her children. This is just who I am. This is how, again, we help one another. We help one another, because I'm telling you guys, you have no idea how much just a smile can make in someone's life, just or a hello, or just what we would see as a small gesture will be huge to someone else. We should always be in the mindset of doing that. And not only would it help that person feel good, just like when we do wrong and evil and wickedness to other people, it comes back to us. When we do good, righteous things to other people, that comes back. But don't do it for that reason. Do it because your heart compels you to do it. That's just the goodness that comes back with it. Is just the icing on the cake. Dio7 recently exposed himself by saying, "Long live the Queen." Well, I'm not going to get into that. ABB, is it true that we used to live that we didn't eat food at all, or is this just misinformation? There was a time when we got our food and sustenance straight from source, the sun and water. Yes, that is true. That when we start eating the way we do now, that's connected with the fall of man and mankind. We became denser, everything became denser, and we lost our connection. And that's the DNA. A lot of the DNA stopped functioning. And then there are also things that were done to keep to turn the DNA off and to keep it off by means of technology and poisons, all kinds of poisons. I'm not gonna get into that, but many of you guys, I'm preaching to the choir. You pretty much know where I'm going with that. ABB, sometimes I feel something is dragging my spirit from my feet to my head, but it's like something stops it. Well, that's what I was talking about earlier. Sometimes I wonder, is it someone dragging me or me on the verge of astral projecting? Um, no, that's an attack. That feels more like an attack. You astral projecting, you wouldn't. No, that's an attack. But again, for every or by way of an attachment, for every attachment or attack, there's always those around us who will help us when we're not consciously aware on how to help ourselves. Um, Going back to that comment someone made about D-Rose 7, I don't want you guys to read anything between that. I generally don't get into talking about what other people are saying or other people are doing on their platform. That's just because I know someone may take that and try to make it like I'm trying to throw shade. That's not why I said that. I'm just it. It is what it is. I just don't get into stuff like that. Um, just smiling and meaning it, holding opening the door, saying thank you, excuse me. Yes, being kind and polite. Can I help you, etc. It goes a long way. It absolutely does. Um, ABB, what do you believe the percentage is for the people who have awakened to how corrupt the financial system is? It's over half. It's over half the population, and that is good. And this is one of the reasons why these things had to play out, because before all hell broke loose, we could tell these people, "Oh, you crazy, you a conspiracy theorist, it ain't that." These people, they won't see it. But when it start banging them in their behinds and hitting their pockets, and they're seeing it firsthand, they have no other choice but to look at it and see it for what it is. So even people who have been doing very, very well, let's say a few years ago, and never thought they would be in a position where they have to count pennies. Even some of them are looking like, yeah, the corruption is deep, and it is. The corruption is knee deep. It's horrible. It really is like a cesspool of corruption in every single industry, everywhere. No rock has been left unturned. In the woke community, in the religious communities, in the financial systems, the mass media. I think all of us are pretty clear on that. Any system where there's a lot of influence on the mass, the corruption is there, and it's like cleaning it up. Um, it's like cancer. You have to strategically separate the bad cells from the good cells, and you don't want to, through casualty or wars, remove too many of the good cells in the process. This is why, again, this process is laboring on a lot longer than we would like for it to happen. This is a multi-dimensional situation here. It's very, very, very layered and very complex. People always talk about Queen Elizabeth being reptilian. It's like they never heard of other beings. Like, for example, her husband, Prince Philip, was a different being, similar but different. Yeah, the reptilians get a really, really bad rap. Let me tell you, they're all kind of beings out there, y'all. Let me just put it to you like this. Every single living being that you see on this earth, and I mean everything, has a higher, more evolved version of itself in creation. Now I know that creeps a lot of people out. Can you imagine a highly intelligent being that's a giant insect type being, a highly intelligent ant? Some people can't handle that. Can you imagine a highly evolved something, a cross between a fish, an insect, and a mammal? Because there have been a whole lot of different experimentations with creations. We're not it. It didn't begin. It didn't begin with us, and it has not stopped with us. So when you look at a people who can't even get along, we're basically the same species, even though we are mixed. They're hybrids down here and all this kind of stuff. You can't get along with your own species in these bodies. How you gonna get along with a being that look absolutely nothing like you? And these people wonder why a lot of them won't are not landing. They can land. It's just their rules of engagement, their protocols in place. But more importantly, they know that most people won't handle a situation like that very well. You're talking about people who can't even handle a person with a different shade standing next to them, or someone with a different sexual orientation, or someone who's trans. How are you going to handle a being that has a whole different makeup and who's 100 times more intelligent and advanced? Some of these beings are millions of years more intelligent than the very brightest of us down here. Some of us incarnated from those groups like that. So our some of the most clueless, or what we call quote unquote dumbest down here, because of where they come from, would still be in comparison to the a lot of other people who are disconnected and have no sense of who they are, would appear to be geniuses in comparison. This is how advanced some of these beings are. The they can send one of their own with only a half a percentage of their consciousness in place, and they will be geniuses compared to the most brightest on the planet. You see what I'm saying? So how, if we can't handle with it, people with different diversity and all the diversity we have within our own species, again, how are we going to handle a totally different species with our intellect that is off the Richters? you know Yeah, they're all kind of reptilian. I can't say that they're different reptilian beings, just like they're different human beings. Absolutely, just like they're different. What it is variations of mixtures. Like you have all these different canines. You have these different cat. They are still of the same species of family, but they are different kind. A lion and tiger is from the feline family, but they would be giants compared to a domesticated cat. But they're basically from the same family. The same is true for humans and every other species that are out there, human and non-human alike. Sometimes I feel like I forget I am in a human body. I feel though I perceive life as if I'm wearing my body the same way you would wear a mask. That's because that is true. That's exactly what's happening. That's real. Exactly. Everyone is different. The fall of Atlantis and Lemuria was the meteorite which caused multiple areas of land to shift its tectonic plates, and entire continents fell into the ocean. The dinosaurs suffered similar fate. That's a part of the story, yes. Um, Not from my feet specifically, but my whole body feels heavy. It can be very scary. Miss Kitty Lulu Mary, Oh, you wrote a comment to Amar. Um, I'm sorry, guys. This was I was talking as the comments were coming in. If I missed your question, I'm not purposely overlooking anything or what have you. It's just that I just randomly see a comment and I'll just read it out loud. If I don't catch your question or whatever, but I apologize. If it's a pressing question enough, I'll do what I had done before. I'll collect them and post a comment and post it to my astralbluebaby.net website. I hadn't posted on there in a long time, but I'm sure there are a lot of things in the archives that a lot of you guys still have not seen. And I'm sure a lot of stuff I put up there has been ghost banned too. Um, this is not to fearmonger. Do you believe people should be stocking water and being self-sufficient? Yes, that's a backup. I'm going to say this. No matter, I absolutely know beyond a shadow of a doubt that's going to be needed. Now, it's hard for me to pick up how long this is going to play out because the opposition, they've been manipulating and shifting timelines around, and they from what I can see, they put them back into place. But for things to sink back in line, I can't seem to get a read on that in a way that I feel confident about. But I do see a time coming where the power grid and the internet and all that is going to be down, and we're going to need to have reserves. How long this is going to go, I don't see it going on indefinitely and all that kind of stuff. But it's good to have it in place for at least I would say a good 2 months, and that's kind of pushing it for at least a good 2 months. I remember looking through your blogs and couldn't find a blog you did on the Valkyries, female warriors. I have to look that up. Yeah. Um, ABB, if I get a reading from you, can you tell me if it's evil entities attacking me or is it astral projection? Because I feel I'm being messed with. Family, I'm gonna tell you whether I do the reading or not. I'm telling you, you are. We all are. That's you. That's what I was saying in the beginning. It comes along with your light and who you are now. But the difference is they can't do but so much. So when they can't break you or can't take control of you or bring you down, they start working through people who are close to you to get to you indirectly. Nobody is immune to that, to these attacks. But if you want to me to do a reading to focus on that, yeah, I will be, you write me at astralbluebaby@gmail.com, and I can do that. Is there a way to stop those forces? Is there a way to stop those forces to timeline manip? Wait a minute, hold on. The screen I'm reading on, the font is very small, but is there a way to stop those forces to timeline manipulate or no? That has stopped. Some higher level forces had to come in and stop that. That has stopped. They are no longer allowed to do that. But for it everything to get caught up, that is still playing out. For everything to get caught up, that is still playing out. So yes, that has already been dealt with. Yeah, it will feel like someone following you, and you feel paranoid. Yeah, we are all being attacked. Yes, they would use what you love, who you love. Absolutely, ABB. Yep. My dreams and OBEs are way more vivid than ever. That's good. That means you shifted. You're closer to the you're moving up the ladder, so to speak. That means what you're doing is working. Do you know if certain movements, dances are in embedded in your DNA. Yes. Don't know if I worded that right. Yes. Hey, Avon, this another one. What's up, buddy? Welcome. Yes, our indigenous ancestors, they understood the power of dance. And dancing is another big one that I've always said. There's nothing like putting on high vibratory music and just move. Don't think about it, just move. Now, let me tell you something that the so-called dark side, they're really good at, again, getting people who are very talented in dancing and studying the dances of the indigenous people and our ancestors and legends who have gone before, and taking those dances and studying them, and studying the vibration that the moves give off or whatever. So where I'm ultimately going is that they get these people to do these choreographies, because dancing is a form of communication and spell work as well. And this is why they always get women, and they get them half naked. That's why the average video is basically soft porn. These women are half naked. They're doing the choreography. What are they doing? They're hypnotizing the viewers. So they're using movement to communicate something to get the audience to fall into their lower nature. So we who are into dancing, and those of us who understand the power of dance and how dance is a form of communication and can connect with us emotionally, we should be doing that as well. Dancing and doing things, if we are good dancers, put inspiring people to dance with movements that is encoded in the DNA. Because when you just move, you don't think about it. That's your higher self, or it's in your DNA to produce those movements, and those movements are coming from a high vibratory place. So in that situation, you would be doing the total opposite of what the dark side is doing. So that's a very good question, Avong. Avong. I'm never sure if I'm pronouncing that right. Whenever we talk, you have to tell me how to properly pronounce that. My girlfriend said that she saged my part of the bed, and that she say and that the sage flared up. Do you think this is that means yes, there's a presence again? But nobody's immune to that. So yes, there's an energy, there's a presence, and your energy, you have to check your calibration level, and check you if you drinking and smoking that GMO weed and stuff like that. Okay, I'm not trying to put nobody out there. Sometimes I pick up on things that I cannot. I pick up on things about certain people. I'm just speaking in general. I'm not calling you out, and I'm not accusing you or anything. But some of y'all are, and there's nothing wrong with all natural weed. The problem is some people are smoking GMO weed and don't know it, a weed that has been laced. Unless you grew it yourself, you can't trust it. And even then, you don't even know where the seeds come from, because the seeds could be GMO. Beyonce's newest song is a dance house track, which is out of the ordinary for her. She's dropping jewels, and the sheep aren't catching them. I would definitely have to listen to the song and get a feel on it. They putting fentanyl in the weed, and then some, and then some. Trust me. Okay, I'm gonna go all the way back up just to kind of catch some of these comments that were going on when I started talking. Sean says, I've been new when I was a kid. I know that what we see in movie shows and video games were real. It was never make believe, fake to me at all. Even I think imagination and dreams are real experiences too. And that's imagination. I want to talk about that. Um, some of you guys know I had done a live on Facebook with a show called Matrix Minds, And in that live, um, we kind of got into this conversation about imagining things. You can't imagine anything that you never seen or actually was privy to beforehand. And the brother who facilitated that interview, he studied psychology in the brain, and he said they know for a scientific fact that the brain cannot create something or make up something that it has never seen before, right? So when people try to say that if you describe something that is otherworldly or a scenario or a situation that that you had never seen before, no one has ever seen before, it has to be it has to be coming from a real place, because the brain in itself can't do that. A brain can't create. I'm gonna give you an even better example. These computers, right? We're on a computer. We're all on a computer, right? These computers are only doing what we program, the software that we put in, and the memory and the accessibility it has. A computer can't do anything outside of and can't access anything outside of what is in it. So that's a different way of looking at it. If the brain is the equivalent of a motherboard to a computer, how can a computer create and do things that is not outside of its program, because it can only do what it has been programmed to do. We, on the other hand, we do things that we were never programmed, or bring forth information and knowledge that we were never privy to. I grew up in the ghetto with only a high school education, and I can go and work any room. I don't care how many advanced degrees anyone has. I can sit down and have, if they didn't know, and this has happened many a time, people sit down and talk to me and they'll assume I must have went to a highly decorated university somewhere. And why is that? Because my knowledge, my information comes beyond it, it is outside of what I have learned here on this realm, and outside of what I have been programmed to think and say. So the imagination is a very interesting word, because you can't imagine anything. Like the old saying goes, there's nothing new under the sun. If it is in your mind and you seeing it and you're creating it, that means you are retrieving it somewhere. It exists somewhere. It is a real thing somewhere. Now, what we often do is take something that has existed before and put our own spin on it, based on our perception, our life experiences, our level of consciousness, and so on and so forth. But you can't imagine anything that hasn't already existed, or imagine anything that isn't really real. So thank you for that. That's a very, very, very good comment there, fam. Lucky Lopez says they can't stop what's happening. Oh, I already read that. Okay, let me come down some. Um, what advice would you give those of us who are looked upon as the pillar of the family, who have to spiritually fit for what seems like those around us? What would I say? What advice would I give those who are the pillars of the family, who have to spiritually fit for what seems like those around us? I would say, do not fit, do not dim your light to make others feel comfortable. Stand on your square. I'm going to say, and I'm going to keep saying it, be true to you, and let the pits fall where they may. When it's all said and done, if they truly love and respect you, that's not going to change. If they don't love and respect you, then they don't deserve you. So let it be what it is. But what often happens is the pillar who has had the most influence in their respective lives, even if they don't get it right away, a seed has at least been planted, and at the right time, that seed will grow. So that's why I say, never dim your light to come down to anyone, especially at this point in the game. You got to stand strong and secure on your square. And I will also say, stay in communion with others who are like you, of like minds, and mentor. Be open to being mentored and giving advice. and support it, and remain humble. Never stop learning. Never stop growing. Paradigm Collector says, I have begun to. Oh, okay, I read that one. Funny, I keep landing all these comments. I keep landing on comments I already read. Okay, there's a reset upon us, like Tina Marie said in her song Deja Vu. If anger is your friend, don't you know when you die, you will come back around again? That's the truth. And that the reason why that is because in order to get out of this matrix, you must learn to master those energies. You must rise above those energies. You must. And I'm going to tell you why that is. Those energies have a very dense, plasmic, dark, heavy energy to them. It's very slow and dense. I'm telling you, I've experienced that energy raw, unfiltered. That energy is very slow, very heavy, very dense. And when you are your emotional energy body is way down with that, you can't vibrate but so high. Nobody can come and take it off of you. It don't work like that. Nobody can come and clean it off you. You were the one who created it. It is infused and this is a part of you. So you, and I'm just saying you in general, we must go through the process and do what we must do to overcome it, burn it off, okay? And lighten the load, so to speak. All that hate, all that, that's why we shouldn't judge other people because because judgment is another form of creating a very low, dense, heavy, vibratory energy because that judgment makes someone feel like in that moment that they are without flaws. And that with the most honest thing we can all do and admit to is that we all have flaws. Nobody is perfect in these bodies at this point. We have the potential to connect and merge with a perfect light body or create a perfect light body, but nobody is perfect. And just because one person's struggle is not the same as yours does not give somebody the right to feel like because their struggle is different from the other person's struggle, they have the right to demean and dehumanize and condemn and judge and shame that person. Because again, you may not realize that you in the process of shaming and condemning that person, someone who may not be strong enough to realize what that struggle means for them in their life could inadvertently cause them to create heavy energy and weigh themselves down in the process. And so again, what we do to others is ultimately what we do to ourselves and vice versa. So nobody can escape this because everything is connected. Okay, let me see. Do you feel like all the pieces to the puzzle have to be in place before the financial? Oh, I think I read that. Um, all right, I'm gonna come on back down and get caught up on the back end here, and then I'm gonna wrap up. I'm gonna do another 10 minutes, and then I'm gonna wrap up. I want you guys just to share with us any advice that you have for anybody out there. And if I have something to add to it, I would jump on it. Everything is collected. Yes, Lucky Lopez. I agree with I agree with some say when we are judging others, we are actually judging ourselves without realizing that's right. Me does cause nightmare. Let me explain to you guys why. Now, this is some a lot of people don't say or admit to, and I'm going to say it because it's the truth. Everybody has a purpose, and I know this is going to be real hard for a lot of people to wrap their minds around. But I'm going to tell you why this is. I'm going to tell you what I'm going to share with you, and then I'm going to tell you why this was decided upon. There are a lot of animals agreed to come down here for the purpose to be food, to be sustenance. Okay, That's their life purpose. And what happens is when those of us consume, there's a process. We're supposed to honor, give reverence and thanks and honor and pour gratitude and appreciation and thanks into the meat and elevate that being to a higher plane. We've long lost that. Our indigenous ancestors, when we fail, understood this. We've lost it. But there are animals who come here who have agreed to be sacrificial lamb. Again, think back of the story of Jesus. Don't take the story of Jesus as a literal story about one man. It really encompasses many beings who have agreed to come down here and sacrifice their lives to live and to carry a cross, to carry a burden for the sustenance and the betterment of the whole. Many and not all animals have come here to sacrifice themselves to be food, but many of them have. Now, what we're supposed to do is to treat them humanely, give thanks and reverence for the food, and what happens is they automatically go to the higher realms. That becomes their life purpose. And the reason why these beings agreed to do this is because instead of us accruing a lot of negative karma, eating animals against their will, and I'm talking about animals who have been tortured. Now, mind you, there are farms where they were purposely torturing and making sure the animals suffer terribly, so that when we consume the meat, we take on the energy and emotions and the feelings that those animals, because the energy can't be killed. The energy can only be transformed. So we eat their meat, their remains with the emotion that was in it, and we accrue karma. And later on in life, with cancer and all these terrible, painful diseases, we pay that back on the back end in life, in later on in life. What we took on karmically from eating the animals who didn't consent to it, and the animals who've been brutally tortured um, for the food. So there were animals who agreed to come down to make to consent to be that, so that when the meat is eaten, the karmic debt and the energetic weight is not as heavy as it has been before. This is some deep next level stuff here. You don't hear a lot of people talking about this. So what I tell people is that if you are going to eat meat, you go get it from a place. And I know everybody don't have the means. And again, this is another reason why a lot of the animal, some spirit, a lot of the animals agree to do this as well, because everybody can't afford to go and buy food where the animal is treated humanely. And when they sacrifice them, they don't suffer, because they have a way of shutting down the consciousness before they feel anything, where they are not suffering. They're treated humanely. There's a full range farm. They're well fed. They're well taken care of. That's how it's supposed to be. And when we get the meat, we give reverence and thanks for it until this mess down here is cleaned up in the lotus light, and more people begin eating less meat, right? That the less meat that's eaten, the less we will have to look at um, killing other life forms to survive. Plants are life forms as well, but since we're talking about animals and blood, and animals who are sentient beings with consciousness and intelligence, despite what they've been telling us, the lies they've been telling us. So there are some animals who agree that's their life purpose, to come here to be sacrificial lambs for food, so that for the betterment of humanity, so that so many people don't accrue the negative karma from eating them, or the all the negativity that comes along with a setup that they did not agree or consent to. It lightens the load. Does that make sense? Not everyone can go vegan, and that's true too, because of the our blood, different blood types and setups or whatever. That's why I say, that's why for some people they don't have a choice. They can't go vegan. Everybody can't do it because of the mixture, the hybridization programs that has happened. And again, when you're talking about some beings down here who have to hold a lot of light and a lot of energy, and they have DNA and genes where they needed certain animal proteins because that's how their ancestors ate. And if they don't have that sustenance and that strong foundation, they're not able to do their jobs as effectively. So what we should be pushing for is places where they are farming animals for food. We should be pushing for a more humane way of treatment, and to when they in their lives, they are not suffering, they are not tortured, they are treated with kindness and respect. And when their time comes, their exiting is as quick and painless as possible. That's what we should be advocating for. And when we get the meat or whatever, we give thanks and reverence for it, and put and that good energy we become one with that being, and that being is pushed where they don't have to ever do that again if they so not choose. But keep in mind, even living, believe it or not, the animals have an easier life. Because think of it, if you just come here and live a few years grazing or whatever, and you go quickly, and we are down here 60, 70 years dealing with all this hell, all this mess, in comparison, in some ways, and we still, many of us, going to have transitions that's going to be way more painful than what some of them have gone through for their sacrifice. So in many ways, they still see the sacrifice some of us humans make nothing in comparison when you look at how much time and everything we have to go through compared to what they have to go through. But the sacrifice is still very, very, very powerful and very deep and very meaningful still. Some of us are literally experiencing hell. Some of us literally had to come to hell to help save and wake up souls. We didn't have to, but we are here. That's not an easy job, knowing you are going to be marginalized, hated. I don't care how loving you are, how kind you are, how much you give, what you do. Somebody, every single one of you guys in here, including myself, is hated by somebody, and we've never done nothing to nobody like for that hate. Now, think about that. Beings knowing you're going to come into a world with nothing but love and compassion and empathy in your heart, and you're still going to be hated, and people are going to want to see you suffer and be miserable, even still. That's hell. By the way, the speaking of veganism, let me read this real quick. Star says, "I'm not trying to promote veganism. I'm just saying every beast should not be eaten, or our bodies have a way of giving us signals about health through our dream state." And this is true, but at the same time, there are those who are wired to eat meat because, again, that's how our ancestors ate, and our genes and our DNA has adapted to that. Now, will there come a time where we won't have a need for that? Yes, but that's a long way off. So, in this process of this transition or what have you, um, there have been beings who have agreed, uh, cows, beings that we have come to eat the most, who have agreed to be food. They have. Not all of them, but some of them have. And yes, it is true. We should not be eating any and everything, but there are some people who have adjusted and can, if they don't eat the way they're eating, they can get sick and die too. Because their makeup has gotten used to, or their blood type requires them to have that a certain kind of protein. Just like some people can't live off just eating all plant. And we've seen the horror stories of many people eat veganism, eating in many, many combinations. Everybody can't be vegans either. That's just the fact. Because we're hybrids, we're all mixed up. All kind of stuff has been done to prevent that from happening on a universal level. We're just not on that plane yet. So it's not just social conditioning, Star. There are people in areas where there is no vegetation, no fruit growing, and it has been that way for thousands of years. And if these people don't eat something, they because some indigenous people eat drink the blood of animals. If they don't drink the blood, they're eating the meat because there's nothing for them to get. They don't have water where they can eat fish. Fishes are living beings too. They don't have access to an ocean to get fish. So again, those are our ancestors. Some of us have that gene activated in us. It is. I'm not saying what you're saying isn't true, but that's not the whole story. There was a time when we were before we fell and before the earth became dense and our DNA shut down, when we were whole beings then. We weren't a bunch of hybrids, disconnected, discombobulated, mixed up and all over the place the way we are now. So we have to adjust to where we are now and make the best of where we are now as a collective and work on improving that, because once we start trying to push one narrative on everybody, it becomes a fight again. It becomes another fight again. I'm not saying you're incorrect, but that's only part of the story. We are very, very complex people. This is a very, very complex reality here. Nothing is black and white anymore. um the transition, Lady Lopez says, the transition from meat to chlorophyll diets will take generations. Yeah, that's a process. People can't just do that, because remember, you're talking about people who've been eating. If we're talking about bloodlines, you're talking about thousands of years. And if we're talking about individuals, we're talking about people who've been eating a certain way for 20 for years. You can't just flip overnight and just stop eating a certain. It has to be a transition, a gradual transition, because that'll shock the body and cause more harm than good. So I do encourage us to eat smarter, but again, there's a way of doing it with the right knowledge. And again, most importantly, listen to your body. Your body will tell you exactly what you need. And when your body tells you what you need, give it to it. And I promise you won't crave it for a long time to come. I get hate. Okay, Sean says it. I get hate it on. They also want to see me suffer too. I know I'm not the only one. We know everyone is through, and I also want to say that there are also animals eat other animals that eat meat too. Yeah. Now and that's why I say there have been hybrid programs where you know there have been humans DNA been spliced with certain animals, other Neanderthals, and all kind of stuff that has happened down here. It's now part of who we are, but we are evolving into something. That's the goal. We're striving to evolve into something better than what we were. Look into Dr. Moore's. He makes sense of how folks are how fruits are the best source of nutrition for our body. Veggies, meats, grains, etc. are too complex for our bodies. He I'm gonna tell you this. I get what he's saying. The real ultimate problem is we eat too much. That's the problem. That's really the ultimate problem. They tell us we're supposed to eat 3 meals a day and all this stuff. I'm telling you what works in my life and people that I've seen. People eat when you eat according to what your body only eat when you are hungry. And when you eat smart and you eat in the right combination that your body needs. There, I don't care what nobody say. There is no universal diet that's going to work for all of us the same. That's ridiculous. Again, if there were something that would really work that way for all of us and would make all of us healthy, do y'all really think they would be promoting them in the mainstream media? Now, what he's saying is going to work for some people, yes, but that's not going to be true for everybody. And again, plants are living beings as well. I said that before. Plants are sentient beings, and plants don't want to be eaten. Some plants don't want to be eaten. That's why some plants protect themselves with poisons. So Yes, fruits is another thing. And again, if we're going to go to nitty gritty with fruits, we shouldn't be taking fruits from the trees without asking the tree from the fruit. So if we're going to get real technical about it, we can go on a whole nother level with that because we're taking fruits from fruit trees without their consent. There's even a way we supposed to properly do that. Conscious vibrations. Welcome, fam. I didn't catch you earlier. You say, please be diligent in processing your triggers. Heal yourself, love. Heal yourself, love yourself, and remember that you are source. You are valid and was created on purpose by the creator of all things. Thank you for that. Um, at Omar, you said at Colin Campbell, he said he will go back after the live, if not perhaps a kind of email if it's pressing by my recommendation with a donation if you can. Yes, speaking of donations, yes, you guys support not just myself. I'm telling you, I feel a lot of others who are doing this work because who are out there on the forefront, making themselves basically on the front line, and it's very very challenging to get up here and do these lives and create this content because it takes time. These videos we put together, it looks simple, but these videos takes a lot of time and energy to put together. And with me, because I'm creative, I try to do my videos in a way where it's entertaining. I take the time to draw images and all that. That's a lot of work. I mean, when you guys look at how many people it takes to put together content in the mainstream media, right? I'm just using an example. You're talking about hundreds to thousands of people that put together just to put together a 15, 20, 25 minute sitcom. A lot of people behind that, and those people are making fat checks to do that. A lot of money. We're not supposed to be doing it for money, but it does incentivize us, and it also sometimes, if you can, it shows us that you really are appreciating the work when you say, hey, you know what? I benefited from this person's work. And I know it's not easy, and I see how they're dogging their content, disrespecting the work. I'm going to show them that I appreciate what they're doing. A donation. It don't even have to be a donation. It could just be some of you guys just write me and an email with a message that is so heartwarming. How the work has inspired you and how the work has touched you, and you want to encourage me and thank me. Stuff like that goes a long way because sometimes we don't feel that appreciated. We do feel like our support system is not there for us the way we see the Decepticons and all those false agents out there. Their supporters are knee deep. Like, I mean, y'all see it, they go to bat for them. And that again, what makes our work two times harder. But again, light is way more brighter than dark, but we can't hold our light but so much in one way. We try to diversify in how we share our light. So this is why we say, no matter what, when we make these videos, if you can't donate, share the content. Even just coming in and engaging, leaving some engaging with the content, leaving some feedback, making sure you and if you like, making sure the like sticks, things like that encourages us and it inspires us to keep making more of the content. Because again, we continue our work in other ways, but again, in this format, we don't necessarily have to do it on the level as much as we did in the past because everything is out in the open now, and we're also being monitored and censored. So we won't be able to say but so much anyway. But yes, we would still like to continue keeping um, um, keeping a connection with our audience and putting up content. But again, to do that, that would mean giving up time where we can be really making some kind of impact or earning our living. You see, because we have to earn our living. We still have to pay bills and feed our family and feed ourselves just like everybody else until the right time. So the time we could be earning money, y'all know we're already being marginalized and they're trying to block us from even doing that, then that's why we ask for donations. And I'm telling you, it took a long time for me to get to the point of humbling myself and ask for donations. There were a couple of people who really had to talk me into going along with it because I was so uncomfortable with it. But when I start doing the work, I start understanding it's bigger than I had to humble myself because I'm so used to doing and giving to other people. It was a little pride there. I couldn't accept from others. So that was a learning curve and an experience for me. So for me to be at a point where I'm saying yes, I would appreciate donations or whatever. I'm not going to sit here and say, you must donate to me, or I'm not going to do no ultimatum. But yes, donations here and there when you can, it incentivizes me, especially at this point, because again, 13 years of doing this and with little to no financial support for it. How many people you think would be doing something like this for 13 years of their life and not get no obvious return on it, not no monetary gain? I know people who volunteer to help with my website, right? I'm not throwing anybody out there and I'm not saying these specific names. They wanted to volunteer. When they got in and they saw how much work it is, they all just fell off because there was no immediate return on it. They were expecting some kind of financial or some kind of return on it. This is not the kind of work you're gonna make for not for the righteous ones. We don't get rich and famous doing this. Not for the real ones. We don't. I appreciate your time and energy that goes into your content as for Blue Baby. Thank you, Randy. And you've always been one of those who have always made me aware of that. And I thank you so much. And I thank all of you guys who have, many of you have given and done what you can, even like I say, even just engaging in the content when I put it up means something to me because I like to hear from you guys as well. you guys have you guys are brilliant. You guys are on a whole nother level as well, and you have talent. You have higher level awareness that um a lot of people could benefit from as well. So don't be shy, don't be scared. Share it in the forums, engage with one another in the forums more. I share your music with everyone I know. Thank you, fam. I really appreciate Twin Pyramid. I appreciate that. And speaking of music, one day, if y'all want to know, y'all would not believe when I tell you, when I talk to other musicians and people who've done this and didn't have the kind of mess I went through, y'all would not believe what I went through. That CD was supposed to be out last year. Y'all would not believe. Y'all would, but it's still unbelievable at the same time that it would be that freaking obvious and sick that these people would be doing the things that they did. So what I did was I scrapped the whole CD release from last year, and I got my money back. To make a long story short, and I decided to remix all those songs and write a new song, kind of like I'm doing a fresh new project. And I got someone else to remaster it to give it a different kind of energy. Then I renamed it's still ABB, but I put the dot between ABB, and then I added another song to kind of start a clean slate and rebrand it. And I'm going with a whole nother distributor, and I'm basically going to re-release the CD digitally, the whole album digitally, and then I'm going to release the CD, and I'm not going to announce the exact date because I don't. Again, in warfare, you never know. Let the right hand know what the left hand is doing. But I am trusting that everybody in this room, when I release this CD, you are going to order a copy or at least download the album. Hey, and if some of you guys want to do both, oh, I truly would appreciate it. There's no reason why every one of my supporters should not order a CD. Hey, and even if you want to order a CD and just give it to somebody as a gift who's on their awakening, hey, that's even better. It helps. I'm trusting that, and I'm giving you guys plenty of time that everyone in this room order that CD because that CD was created to amp you up, to keep you lifted. It's bigger than me. It's bigger than me, right? So this music is a very, very powerful, powerful vice and tool for us. This music was given to me. It was given, most of those songs I dreamt. And when I dream things like that, believe me, that's coming from the Star family. I'm just a vessel for it. So, on that note, I want to say thank you all so much for sharing this moment with me. I will continue to upload original content. I'm going to do a video about breaking generational curses and identity politics. I think I may upload that one on my Cosmic Meat channel because I try to the stuff that's not deeply rooted on a spiritual level. I upload there, but hey, now I may just kind of put them all on the same channel at this point because you guys, y'all ready. If y'all want me to do that, the content doesn't necessarily have to always be about metaphysical, spiritual stuff on this channel, right? Y'all will be open to me sharing anything here, right? You deserve more subscribers. Thank you, fam. The reality is that the subscribers that I do get, they undo them, they block them. This is a part of keeping my channel down. You'll see it's been on. Now, when you look at my channel, it say I have 12,700 subscribers. But when I go and look on the dashboard, it say I have 12,790 something subscribers. So this is something else, and I'm sure it has something to do with the algorithms to keep certain channels down. Now, while everyone else channel, you see what their supposed exact numbers are, but my content channel, and I think they're doing this with Miss Quiet Queen channel, our channels are rolled around about a nearest 100. Now, why are they only doing that with certain channels, but they're not doing that with everybody else? This is, again, it can't be any more clear than this, guys. So again, if I'm crazy and what I'm saying is so crazy and I don't know what I'm talking about, why would they put so much work into suppressing my visibility? And it's not just on YouTube, it's on Google, it's on Facebook. They use a lot of bots on my content. A lot of real people are not seeing the stuff. So again, this is why we ask you guys to share the content. If you want to put the stuff on a DVD and share it, you have my permission. I don't care. Long as it's being shared to people who are receptive, hey, the more the merrier. We can speed up this process. All right. So on that note, I want to thank everybody so much for sharing this moment with me. I will absolutely be back and I will continue to do lives like this. And continue to speak with some of you guys in private. I talk to many of you guys off and on over the years when I can, and I want to continue to build upon that because I'm not only here doing this work, but I'm also here to build relationships as well. All right. So on that note, I say good night to each of you guys. May everything that I shared with you comes from the passion, the love, the unconditional, immeasurable love that I truly have for everyone. You take it to heart and know that everything that I do is coming from a truly loving place. And that is the almighty truth. I want to see everybody win, but I also understand that everybody has their season, and I'm respectful of that. All right, guys, good night. Take care. Till the next time.